Look at all this fucking hentai. Just look. So much hentai. I'll be here reading and reviewing for months. Oh, fine. Fuck it. Let's just pick one. Don't really want to read a hardcore one. Here we go.
Colorful Harvest, 9 chapters of softcore vanilla goodness. It's by Ponkotsu Works, so could you really expect anything else? In all seriousness though, with Ponkotsu Works, it really is in that gray area where his manga borderline what you would call hentai.
I'm not joking, just look up Love Junkies, Eureka 100 Shiki, or Nanato Kaoru, and you'll get the same amount of horniness.
That being said, is Colorful Harvest really comparable to those published manga? Can it convey the same interesting story as those multiple volume series in just 9 chapters? I am excited to find out, so join me on my review of Colorful Harvest by Ponkotsu Works.
It begins with Ryosuke having a lucid dream on the bus with his former crush Shiho, so it opens with a set scene like almost every hentai. Once we get that brief attention grabber out of the way, you're given the plot behind this story, with Ryosuke coming back home to the country from Tokyo. Reason being, his father has fallen ill.
Okay, I gotta stop for a minute and ask you, just how much do you think this is going to affect the story and drive it along? Seriously?
Now back to the review. Right before you learn of Ryosuke's father's illness, you have about 1 page total where you learn why he left and didn't want to return. If you guessed he asked Shiho, his childhood friend, out and got rejected, you was 100% correct. Not long after this, due to certain events, a new girl is introduced, Ryoko. Now 5 pages, that's right, 5 pages, after being brought in, she forces herself on Ryosuke. In one of the shortest set scenes I've seen, totaling in at 5.5 pages. See, this is where I brought in this being in the gray area of hentai. Though I'm not saying it's bad in any means. I'm just saying it's not loaded full of exploding semen on every page. Which is a good thing because personally I like character development. Now I could go into a whole rant about this and I might another time, but I'm just here to review Colorful Harvest right now, so let's get back to it.
The following chapters focus on bringing other females into the story, like Ryoko, Hitomi, and a random nurse that you don't learn the name to. So now with a love square going on, how will it resolve? With a harem? Or a single romance? Well, if I went into every little detail, you wouldn't get anything out of it if you actually bought it and read it, so I'm not going to ruin much more of the story for you.
Personally, I find the art very enjoyable with little differences between the story scenes, which there's a ton of, and the action scene. So this is good. Ponkotsu Works as an artist who puts equal effort into his pieces. Even his gag scenes are done very well. Though his style isn't the most anatomically correct or detailed drawn, I find it still having a sexy appeal to it, particularly with emotional faces. If I were to compare it to a regular manga, I'd pick Hayate the Combat Butler or Ken Akamatsu's manga series. The cast is quite small in this one, which is good with it only being 1 volume, though it still has more characters than I felt it needed. Firstly, you have the male, Ryosuke, who's your typical clueless, under-average, generic guy who somehow attracts all the girls. Though his traits are just your average, everyday male character, he's still done right and in a way where you enjoy him still. Not that annoying level of generic, as I've seen a few times before. Next is Shiho, the main love interest, though he doesn't have sex with her until the end of the manga. Surprising, right? Anyway, Shiho is just a tsundere, through and through. She turns him down but ends up with him. Though again, her character is a typical tsundere, she's still a very likable character, though not my favorite girl. Now on to Ryoko. Well, outside of Ryoko being a fuck buddy who is the aggressive type and falls head over heels for Ryosuke, instantly for no reason, her character really isn't developed beyond this. Finally, we have Hitomi, my favorite girl. Yes, she's another tsundere and isn't true to her feelings at all. She still has, in my opinion, the most development, and you just feel bad she doesn't end up with Ryosuke, even after confessing again and again she loves him. There are a few other characters in the story, but this is just the main cast. As the others aren't really important at all, I'm leaving them out.
Was Colorful Harvest just drop dead good and different from anything else? No. Was it still as enjoyable as hell? Absolutely. There have been very few hentai that I've read and thought so highly of. Though I don't really think of it as a hentai, but more of a romance manga. Because the sets was quite minimal. Even chapters without any action at all. And that never happens, not even in the greatest hentai. So would I recommend it as fappable hentai? No. Would I still recommend it as a great romance read? Yes. God, yes, I would.
So after thinking it over, I'd give it a 2 out of 10 as a cum-filled beater hentai, but a score of 7 out of 10 as a good romance manga with some extra fan service.